Donald Trump and Keir Starmer have met in New York. It's a tale of two vastly different worlds colliding over a 2-hour dinner, complete with awkward formalities, probably some hidden smirks, and maybe some bewildered staff. You have to imagine the scene. Keir Starmer, the pragmatic, loyally British Prime Minister, sitting across from Donald Trump, slightly inflated with his own ego, the brash real estate mogul turned political whirlwind. Starmer, who's no stranger to serious conversation, probably having prepared meticulously for the encounter, a briefing book thicker than Boris Johnson's memoirs, and meanwhile Trump, ever the showman, riffing on past glories, probably treating the meeting like a reunion episode from The Apprentice. Keir, you're hired. The meeting between Starmer and Trump is a diplomatic tightrope walk for Starmer, who must be thinking, just keep smiling, don't mention Brexit, don't mention the 2018 tweets where David Lammy called him a neo-Nazi sympathizer. Lammy, by the way, has since walked back, I think is the American expression, these comments, probably because he realized that navigating diplomacy is a bit like being on a reality TV show. Alliances can shift. You don't want to be voted off the international stage, and nobody really can remember much more than the last 5 minutes. Trump, in his usual fashion, tried to be complimentary in the most confusing way possible. I mean, you can imagine the conversation, can't you? Keir Starmer, I've heard great things about him. They say he's very nice. He did well. He ran a great race. Nobody knew who he was, but now he's popular. Very early, but he's popular. I'm going to see him soon, so I have to be nice. Nigel Farage, love him. He's fantastic. He won more seats than he was allowed to have. Keir's doing great too, maybe as good as Nigel, who won the election but didn't win. Very unfair. All these broken sentences. The bizarre reality of Starmer's meeting with Trump, therefore, is sort of akin to, it's like those family gatherings when your aged aunt brings her new boyfriend who's a quarter of her age and he insists on showing everybody his snake collection on his phone. You're trying to be polite, but deep down you're wondering, how did I get here? How did she get here? Where are those snakes? And Starmer probably did well to keep it diplomatic and dignified, discussing the special relationship, trying to navigate the minefield that is Trump's view on Ukraine. It must have felt a bit like being a designated driver at a particularly raucous party, and you're hoping simply to get everyone home safely without someone starting a fight. And meanwhile, the failure to schedule a meeting with Kamala Harris only adds to the absurdity of Starmer's New York trip. It's like preparing for months for a big date with the high school crush, only to have end up having dinner with the eccentric uncle with the odd hairdo instead. I wanted to meet Harris, but I got Trump. It's like a reference to flatulence after a heavy dinner. Starmer must have been trying to keep his composure while Trump rambled on about illegal immigrants, probably peppering the conversation with a few suggestions about how to build a big, beautiful wall between the UK and France. I mean, during his time in office in the White House, Trump once toured the newly renovated Air Force One and was presented with 2 color schemes to choose from. He turned to his team and said, I want it to look like a hot rod. You can imagine the horror on the faces of the military officials, expecting usual presidential decorum, A or B, and he goes for C, now picturing Air Force One decked out like a dragster, flames and all. But Trump is such a contrast to other American presidents, and almost at the other end of the scale to someone like Ronald Reagan, who always had, he was prone to gaffes, but he always had an easy word. He was once asked about the state of the economy and how to fix it. And he, with a twinkle in his eye, he said, it's true, times are hard. But remember, I'm not worried about the deficit. It's big enough to take care of itself. He paused, the room erupted in laughter, then he added, "I'm not concerned about the intelligence of my government. They can always find another way to raise taxes." And, even Reagan's opponents couldn't help but laugh. He was a master of the felicitous word. Something that I'm afraid defeats Trump. So there you have it, the curious comedic confluence of Starmer and Trump. Oh, I mean, don't think for 1 minute that I think Starmer has got felicitous vocabulary. He hasn't. He can barely string a sentence together. If Trump sort of encourages images of unexpected belching, not necessarily from the front, Starmer is somebody who feels as if he's got a rod up his backside. It's like a sort of permanent colonoscopy. But just picture it: Trump and Starmer, careful diplomacy meeting unfiltered flamboyance, and I on the subject of colonoscopy, which possibly I shouldn't joke about. I underwent one of these the other day, and the consultant who was actually doing it was the first time we've actually had one of these together. When I've been alert, the nurses were debating: did I want gas? Did I want some form of sedation? And the consultant said, "Oh, no. I'm only going to be up there a short while. You can just entertain us with funny stories." Well, I did, and then he suddenly got interested, mostly in his own work, and he decided to go further. I had to hold on to somebody, and there was there was whimpering from me, and I remember saying at some point, "I'm so sorry about all the noises," and he said, "Yes, noises are okay here, but we don't normally expect them from the front." And so there we are. I'm still waiting for results, but Starmer. So back from colonoscopies and flatulence to Starmer and Trump. And Starmer was hoping to establish a relationship with the I was going to say likely future president, but it's not that likely. It's a possible future president. And he's probably left wondering if he's just attended the political equivalent of a circus. In politics, I think someone said this, in politics, the most important thing is sincerity. If you can fake that, you've got it made. And Starmer may not be able to fake sincerity, but Trump is a master. And comparing Trump with Ronald Reagan, that is the thing that they have in common. Not this ability to remember a great story, not this ability to put people at ease, but this extraordinary ability to fake sincerity. And that, I think, that Trump gets from reality TV. That is the way to master reality TV. And either you have sincerity, you have authenticity, or you can fake it.